Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's fag end of the day. I try to make it as lively as possible. As you know, we are safety and environment engineering consultants. So every day we get some request or other, people asking for certain help. So based on that, what we have seen, I'm trying to give a different perspective altogether. It's not always a straight case that whether the trigger for adopting safety or environment standards is not always, people don't see it as a business case. There are many triggers for it. I'll just want to cite one example. One of the companies recently went for a brand change. The name of the company got changed, the brand changed, the colors changed. So they went on an all India campaign to change the neon signs across every part of India, and they are in small towns, cities. So the corporate prepared a big standard, rollout standard, like what she has shown, the macro level document and all that. The contractor signed a lot of documents and all. Now, so level 1, level 2, level 3, tier 1, tier 2 cities also gone, but when it came to small villages, actually what happened, one roadside dhaba kind of things, this sign was put up. Actually, he doesn't have a place to put that sign, so he hung it on one of the poles. Now, people walked in and one of the guys touched that sign and the fatal accident happened. So, because it was having power and no earthing, and it happened. Now, as far as the villagers are concerned, they see the brand name. They don't see whether it is subcontractor to subcontractor to subcontractor and the kind of thing. So, the whole operations, the delivery vans were stopped and all that. So, then the company came to us and said, how do we roll out, putting up neon signs, and how do we ensure that contractors, subcontractors, finally some small electrician in a small town, how does he adopt company safety policies? So it's the perception with which we see. See, this is where the corporate sees something like this and they feel that it can be crossed, but actually this is what happens. So you find that all the standards are there, but then when it comes to implementation, you find things are not the same as we perceive at the corporate level. We feel that it can be crossed. What is there? Giving earthing is so simple. But actually, when you look back, you find that so many incidents are happening. So from this perspective, I want to bring to you how safety in India is actually practiced and how people see it. See, there is always a dilemma. How do we, this is a constant dilemma, oil prices going up or down. I find that sometimes the behavior of the corporate is very interesting to watch. Still in India, of course it's difficult to conclude, but based on our experience, we are saying that close to 70% of the people are in still reactive mode. Hardly we can count few companies which are in proactive mode. Generative, I reserve my opinion on that. So, yes, their awareness is increasing. But are we really learning? See, we always say developed countries, they do a lot of things. But recent incident which you have seen, this is the Fukushima disaster. You know that you are next to always to tsunami comes. But after the disaster happened, everyone said, the basement, we kept our generator, it could not start, and that resulted. But is it really that they didn't envisage? It is not so. As you can see, this is how the water entered. See, the previous historical tsunami stones which are there in Japan, they put these stones. Those days there is no communication, so they put these stones as a reminder. The current tsunami was just stopped 100 meters short of the previous tsunami. So the information is there, but then you find that information is not always utilized. So you find that in corporates, when you dig deep especially, you will find that some incidents or other that this is happening. So there is always a business case for investing in safety, but many times it goes into a lot of things. So the triggers could be government regulations, it could be societal, it could be, you know, depletion of natural resources, or sometimes just to change the customer perception also, things people go into EHS. So sometimes it is qualitative, sometimes it is quantitative. Always we cannot say that we should quantitatively say that yes, it reduced X. Over a period of time it may be, but sometimes the cost benefit analysis is very difficult to do. Why? We will see that. Now, what we have seen is slowly safety is becoming a component of the business operations, and it is being seen slowly as integral part of business operations. So me and you is slowly getting melt. So a lot of people now believe that safety has to be adopted more for the reasons apart from societal factors, more as a business continuity. And also it is being in some quarters seen as improving the operating discipline. This is the new dimension to the safety. I'll give you one case study where you can see this. Then the third thing which is emerging, of course, in the global HSE Congress, we have seen a lot of oil and gas companies, the dominance is there, but I can tell from my experience, the most promising thing that is happening is in the service industry. There is so much of activity that is happening, whether it is in banks or telecom, operators, retail chains, warehouses, malls, commercial establishments, so much of safety is happening. In fact, there is one telecom company in India which adopted ISRS. I don't think many refineries are yet to adopt ISRS in India, but there is a telecom company which adopted ISRS. So relevant, not relevant is a debate, but this is what is happening. Now keeping this in the background, we have also observed that integrating safety at the design stage is happening in a big way. If you take my own company, in the last 10 years, the change that what we have seen is today close to 55% of our projects, consulting assignments are at the design stage. No longer we are going to factories and trying to say, what we have to do, which is an interesting thing that is happening in our country. So you find that people are talking about facility layout, concept stage process hazard analysis, PHSER, inherent safety design, and design of fire protection systems is happening in a big way. So from a feel-good factor that we should follow all these things to a business case is slowly evolving, and there is a focus on data, there is a focus on being it as a value, and it should become as part of instinctive thing is what is slowly changing. The other thing which is happening in the country in a big way is the process safety management. Okay, today you can count that maybe 20 industries in the country are adopting PSM in a big way. But PSM is now being adopted by even general manufacturing sector. We have seen recently a steel company also has adopted PSM. So it's no longer the domain of oil and gas to talk about PSM. So the critical elements of asset integrity, MOC, operating procedures, and process hazard analysis is being seen as a sustained value. I'll give you some example. Somebody asked that safety bring in value. So this is a study by CCPS. I'm taking from CCPS thing. This is what is global studies point out. There is a 5% increase in productivity, 3% reduction in production cost, 5% reduction in maintenance cost, 1% reduction in capital budget, 20% reduction in insurance cost. Okay, last point, I don't want to debate because we ourselves operate an insurance company. So we are yet to see this integration of reduction in insurance cost versus improving the safety performance. But there are some cases to that effect also. Now here is some examples. I want to just show to you how safety is going beyond the core process. See, you find that even effluent water treatment plants, of course, there is traces of hydrocarbons, so they go for this. But even fire water tanks and routing is something which is happening in a big way. And even the sampling systems, you find that a lot of safety studies are being done. So slowly safety is getting integrated into that. Now, these are some of our experiences which we thought we should share with you. There is a large FMGC company, which is one of the largest, I can say. They had more than 39 warehouses, and these warehouses were all set up over a period of time, past 40, 50 years. Now, the warehouses have been set up, when they were set up, it was more of a business convenience rather than the safety convenience. So in some places, it so happened that the warehouses are located in a street which is dead end of a street. So if a fire brigade goes, it cannot just come back, it has to reverse. So now how they selected, because 30 years back there was no question of thinking about safety, it is more of a business convenience. So they came to us and they said they have an issue, and now when they talk about safety as a core value, this warehouse is causing some of the biggest thing. And the second problem for them is, lot of these warehouses doesn't belong to them, which is the case with most of the business. Now, the one which doesn't belong to you, whether we should make an investment, and it's very difficult to argue as a business case. Now, how do we go about doing it? Now, some of the things we did, and this is what has happened. What started as, if you can see, the number of warehouses which are scoring less than 50 out of the total 39 were more than 90%. After the improvement started, say for example, in a matter of 6 to 7 months, the scores have improved more than 70. And the business case was here that more than 12 warehouses they have to shift, because they felt that if your benchmark score is 70, we cannot achieve, so business has taken a call that we need to move from this. This is a very tough stance, but this business has taken that call, and they have got lots of benefits. What are the benefits? Considerable reduction in accidents and nil fatalities. See, average earlier per warehouse, there used to be 2 fatalities, so roughly about 70 fatalities per year. So it has become almost nil. And the overall productivity and the turnaround and other things have improved considerably over a period of time. So that is what has been achieved. Then another company which operates a lot of malls, a lot of high-rise buildings in the country. If I am right, close to about 40 million square feet they own, and a lot of the biggest MNCs occupy their space. So they are, even though it is a pure construction company, but since their clients are all MNCs and having a lot of what I would say requirements with respect to HSE, they embarked on a journey with respect to HSE. So we did work with them for a couple of years, and a lot of inspections we have done, and we have put a scoring system also with them, and this is what happened. So when you look at it from the electrical safety point of view, there were a lot of issues, and some of it is design issues, but over a period of time we find that they were able to improve to an extent that today they can be considered as some of the best buildings with respect to fire and electrical safety. So this has given a lot of confidence to their clients that we should, we are very safe in their hands. In similar way, a chemical manufacturing company, it embarked on a journey in PSM. As you know, in our country, there is no requirement of adopting PSM. This is a medium scale industry having a turnover of around 800 crores. And there are 23 companies which are in MNCs operated by a lot of the things, but none of them adopted PSM. This is in the chloralkali industry. But the management took a progressive view. See, we make chlorine. If anything happens, it can cause a lot of damage. Not only that, we transport chlorine, so anything en route happens, something can happen. So they adopted the OSHA's PSM standard because they don't want to reinvent the wheel. They adopted OSHA's PSM. And what was achieved was, earlier, this is more than 20-year-old company. So, there were no drawings, updated drawings were not available, MOC as a concept is not practiced, PHA was done long back, and the most important thing that happened is the asset integrity part. There is a considerable improvement in the availability of the machinery because it is constantly being monitored. So the overall thing is that the company now, everyone right from the contract laborer right up to the top, everyone has a common language, everyone understands some of these elements, and then they all work together. Then we also did an interesting work with a natural gas terminal. This is one of the things. So they have all the things, systems and processes, they want to go about doing it. So there are 4 elements they embarked upon this, and this is how their scores looks like. The biggest improvement for them when they adopted this safety journey is the mean time to repair safety systems. You can see it's almost dropped to 0 now. So the availability of the safety systems is 100%, which was not the case few months back, and their safety index is now stands close to about 80 from 59. So this gives a tremendous confidence and the assurance to the top management, yes, their safety systems are really working. Now I'll take the last thing. This is again another FMGC company. They operate about 6,000 trucks and close to about 9,000 drivers, and all are outsourced. Company owns nothing. Now imagine you have to achieve accident-free operations. Now they embarked on this journey of driver management center. In 5 years, they achieved what is difficult to believe. 0 fatalities involving the trucks associated, significant reduction in driving violations, dropping up to by 70%, and now you can continuously monitor the behavior of the drivers, and there is so much change that now the plant transportation safety management system, selection of contractors, training is all integrated into one operating thing. Now if you summarize, the business goals were different in all the 5 cases. So if you say in the warehouse, the trigger was accidents in depots impacting supply chain management, we are not able to do. So the goal was to streamline supply chain. In high-rise building, client requirements for safe workplace, so it is kind of business assurance. You take 20th floor in my building, you are still safe. You need not have to worry whether my staircase pressurization is okay, my smoke exhaust system still works, my fire protection system is all right, do I have trained people, that kind of assurance. In chemical manufacturing, management commitment to prevent catastrophic accidents. The management is worried, I handle so many chemicals, I am located very close to the city, if something happens, my business completely goes down. So they also became the trendsetter and plant availability, now safer plant in sustained operations. In the natural gas terminal, self-evaluation of existing H&S health and safety management system, that was the thing, again a management assurance model, and it led to operational excellence. In transportation, road accidents impacting the supply chain, and which improved, the goal was operational efficiency, safe drivers, nil fatalities, and improve supply chain management. So you can see safety as a business case is not always money. There are many triggers for the companies to go towards safety, and this is what is driving in India. So Indian case is, according to me, because our fines are very limited. I don't know how many of you are aware, there is a rule on transportation of hazardous chemicals, the HACCP symbols, which came in 1987. I believe so far there are only 2 cases filed in the country, and in one case the court has fined 150 rupees. So with that kind of fine system, you can find that not many people want to follow whatever written in the law. So the trigger is not always the fines, the trigger is not always the business loss. Even if a fatality in a construction site, the maximum expense could be 5 lakhs. In a difficult state, it could be 8 lakhs. So that's what we have seen. So even in road accidents, we have seen that companies' average spending for 100 trucks, if you have 100 trucks, is close to about not more than 22 lakhs. This is our statistics. So it is not really which drives people to go for safety, but different things will drive people for safety. So as you can see here. So our thing is, still the mindset is something like this. Safety is desirable but not essential. I think all of you agree with this. People talk about safety when there is money, and when they see, okay, everyone has this lip service, but then when it comes to commitment, it's very difficult. Even though a lot of people said it's a line function, whenever there is an accident, the first thing you see the reaction is safety walan ko bulao. You know, that is the kind of thing still is there in the mindset. You also feel that still it is seen as a statutory requirement, not as a benefit by many industries. Few exceptions, of course. Attitude towards implementing safety, we are doing everything possible, but people are not listening. You find this a common thread across. Not being looked as a value proposition, tools to establish CBA are not widely accepted. You know, there are a lot of research that is done. In overseas projects, we do a lot of CBA for any safety case, but in Indian context, still it is not a something. And board level commitment is yet to happen in majority of the industries. This from my personal experience of dealing with, on an average, we get in touch with close to 300 industries, so we see what is the commitment still that need to come at the board level. Thank you. Thanks for your patient hearing.